What is up, y'all? I am the dating pool guy, and today we will be reacting to this video. Wife buys husband a robot companion, but it starts to replace her. Oh, that's crazy. AI by Story Recapped. I think I've seen this channel before. Yes, I have. So we're gonna check out this video. Man, like, share, subscribe. Y'all know what it is. I'm cleaning up the dating pool through reactions, through advice, etc., etc. But I don't want to waste no more time. So let's get into it, man.
A workaholic woman decides to give her husband a robotic companion to satisfy his needs. However, this decision might destroy not only their marriage, but also their lives. At the district courthouse, Megan Newman watches an automated piano play. Her defense attorney, Peggy, arrives, telling her client that the prosecution just added 2 more witnesses to the case, so they need to discuss their strategy before they begin.
Okay.
Months ago, Megan's friends held a toast to her achievement in closing the biggest deal of her career. As a producer for the music company Cascadia, she managed to finally convince legendary musician Ari Phillips to give them the rights to his songs to produce a modernized album by using AI technology. Megan thanked her right-hand man and AI prompter Vince for helping her close the deal. She also made a speech about how AI wasn't destroying the music industry, but was helping improve it. The others agree, though Megan's husband John stayed quiet through the celebrations. A robotic waiter then approached to offer them dessert, and Megan thanked it. Rachel then shared how she still found it baffling how Cascadia was able to produce good music using AI, when most could only produce awful ones. Vince explained that it was because Cascadia hired actual musicians like him to prompt the system, allowing them to use their understanding of music to guide the technology.
Okay.
Megan added that musicians make the best prompters while directing her attention to John. Knowing what was on her mind, her husband refused. Vince lamented that John refused to be a prompter since he believed AI-produced music was soul-crushing. John added that he found it ridiculous that Vince was guiding technology that virtually replaced him as a musician. In contrast, John was now proud to be a gardener. Megan joked that she never would have guessed that a star musician like her husband would ultimately become a farmer. And John
Oh wait, hold on. Let me.
just reminded her that they've had a good life. However, he would have preferred it if they had a kid. Megan awkwardly laughed at this, brushing it off.
Okay. Pause real quick. First thing I want to speak about is the AI. Just as a side note. So a lot of people do feel like this. It is one of those one of those iRobot type of situations where some people feel like it's good, some people feel like it's bad. You know what I'm saying? I am a big movie person, so I'm on the side of the iRobot side with Will Smith, where I'm like, like, it's cool, like the stuff that it can do, like, it's helpful, etc., etc. But I think ultimately we just got to be careful because all the movies end the same way. Once you put that brain in the AI, we know how it goes. The motherboard takes over and says, you know what, why do I need humans? Shrink. But let's talk about the relationship stuff. So notice that, you know, she's a big entrepreneur. I mean, not entrepreneur, but she's a big company mogul. So basically a boss lady, you know what I'm saying? He was in the music field as well, doing big things as well, I'm guessing. Which probably is how they kind of connected, I'm thinking. She liked what he did, he liked what she did. But then he decided AI wasn't right for him. You know, he was Will Smith, like me, iRobot. And so he said, I'm not doing that, and became a gardener. Now, here's the thing. You can already see their dynamic. She's like the boss lady. He's like the smaller job. Like, we got a good relationship. Let's not mess it up, etc., etc. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I've seen how this goes a lot of times in real life. Where, you know, it starts to drift apart because she's just working all the time and he feels kind of forgotten. So let's just see how that goes, man.
As the couple were taken home by their self-driving car, Megan confronted her husband about bringing up the topic of kids in front of their friends. John apologized, but he insisted that having one would make their home complete. Megan reminded him that they'd agreed on having one next year after she'd finalized her deal. She wanted to ensure that her career was steady before taking a leave to start a family. John assured her that she wouldn't need to take a leave, promising that he'd be a full-time dad. Still, Megan asserted that they'd have a kid next year instead. That night, John found his wife still working in bed. He tried to initiate some intimacy, but she was too tired from work to fulfill his desires. Quickly, John gave up, and seeing his sour mood, Megan offered to let him do what he wanted with her. John refused, given that she won't be into it. He then asked if they'd ever be intimate again, and Megan promised that they would. However, she'd been working too much to have any time or energy. Given this interaction, Megan had...
All right, I'm not going to keep pausing it like this. Well, maybe, who knows? Nah, probably not. Real quick, just wanted to cover that too. That, I've seen that break a lot of relationships. Hold on. Yeah. Hey, I was shooting a video. What's going on? But what's up? Oh, hey, how's it going? All right, good to see you. So let me just cover that real quick. So I've seen that happen a lot in certain relationships where one person is too busy and then they start to neglect the other person. And it's like, okay, well, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if the other person's not engaged or they're not a willing like participant, then it's not the same. Like it lacks the connection. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's how it starts. I'm saying, like that's how it starts, man. That divide starts moving away from each other. You know what I'm saying? Slowly but surely. And, people end up hurt like this, but you got to pay attention. Like, he saw the signs of it early, still wanting it to work. And, she has an idea in her head of how she wants it to work. And so I can already kind of see he's getting fed up, you know what I'm saying? But he's still trying to hang in there, but he's kind of fed up. So we'll see.
Headed to the robotics company Humanix the next day to meet her robotics engineer sister, Lila. Surprised, Lila asked what Megan wanted, knowing that she had an agenda given that she'd never visited her in the last 7 years. Megan came clean and recalled that Lila was working on a robotic technology called the Intimacy Companion. Lila confirmed, adding that they were already heading to beta testing the robots. Megan wondered if the companion would be good for husbands who weren't getting action from their wives. This surprised Lila, so Megan admitted that she hadn't had much drive since she'd been working constantly. She felt guilty that John wasn't getting any action, so she wondered if she could get a companion for him. Lila clarified that they already had the test group selected, having vetted them based on psych evaluations. However, Megan insisted that her sister could discreetly slip John's file into the test group. When Lila adamantly refused, Megan started making a silly face, using their childhood bond to convince her sister. Soon enough, Megan approached John in his greenhouse. He asked her to help him with his plants, but she refused, pointing out her expensive outfit.
All right, like I said, who knows? I gotta. This has so much packed into it about relationships and about how dynamics work. Man, this is really a great piece to study. But okay, let's go back a little bit. So notice now she's going to her sister, who's in charge of the AI, technology, in charge of the robot companions, and so she's asking her to commit a crime by slipping the husband in there, which could get her fired. But she's like, come on, you're my sister, help me out. Without talking, she hasn't even talked to her husband about it. Like, she's just like, okay, this is how this is going to work. So you could kind of tell she does what she wants. Like, she doesn't even ask him. Like, she was just like, okay, I'm going to do this for him. You know what I'm saying? Other thing is, notice she was like, do you think this would be good for him? And the sister's like, I don't think so, but she's just like, yeah, what I'm saying? Like, let's just go forward with it. That kind of thing, bringing that into your relationship is always bad. I don't think I've seen something where it goes good unless it's on TV. And then again, it's like, is this for real? And even if it does, it's low. Like, jealousy always comes in. Infighting comes in because the person whose idea it is has a set of rules in their mind of how it should work. And if it doesn't work like that, it is a problem. So I don't see this going well. Next thing, how she's talking. Okay, he asks, hey, help me with this gardening stuff. And she's like, don't you see I got this expensive fit on what I say earlier. They're in two different worlds. She's like, I'm a boss. He's like, I more want the relationship. I more want a wife, stay at home. He has an ideal. She has an ideal. He should have already known that she wasn't gonna help him with the gardening. I mean, look at her outfit. No, I'm just playing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he should have already known how she is. But he's still trying. You could tell he's like trying to get her involved. But she keeps reminding him how she really feels. So let's go.
Instead, she asked him to follow her to show him a surprise. In their foyer, John found a pod that he mistook for a coffin. When he opened it, he found a beautiful female robot inside. Megan explained that she got him an intimate companion as an anniversary present, but John was offended by the idea. Megan tried to reason that Lila needed more subjects for the testing period.
Anniversary?
And given that they hadn't had much connection lately, she thought about signing him up. Despite this, John was angered that she thought he'd like it. Again, Megan reasoned that since she was overworked, she felt guilty of having him feel left out. However, John asserted that he wanted intimacy from her, not from a machine. Just then, Megan received a call from Vince, reminding her that she needed to approve a presentation. Before she left, John asked his wife to have her sister recall the robot in the morning, asserting that he didn't want it. Sympathizing with him, Megan apologized for assuming what he wanted before leaving. In the present, the court session begins. Prosecutor Brian tells the jury that the accused, Megan, illegally acquired an untested machine and ignored its warning signs, thus resulting in her husband's death.
What?
On the morning
whoa. Hold on. Wait, what? Oh. Okay. So I'm guessing like this is so they're showing like this. That's the future. Okay. So in the future he died. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. That's crazy. Okay, so let's cover that too. Notice she kept pushing for it. Like I said, she seems like somebody that's like, oh, like I'm gonna get what I want. I'm a boss, blah, blah, blah. Dangerous, man. It takes two to be in a relationship. Why is she not talking with this man before she does stuff? That shows she doesn't care about his opinion. She's like, I know what's best, and this is what I'm gonna do. He died. That's crazy. But it happened. So, all right, let's see how this goes. You know what I'm saying? Because he died, so I guess it doesn't go well, but crazy.
Intimacy companion was to be recalled. John was left alone in his home as always. He sat by their grand piano, missing the times he played music. Just then, the Humanics crew called him to confirm that the companion would be picked up soon. Given this and his loneliness, John curiously opened the pod again to examine the robot. It awakened at his touch, explaining to him that it was designed to synchronize with him. Surprised, John helped it out of the pod, noticing how it felt like a real human. The companion explained that it was made with material to closely mimic human skin. Adding to this, it was designed to read his mood based on his body responses. This allowed it to judge that he was curious about its services. Ashamed, John pulled away, asserting that he was returning it to Humanics. Hearing this, the robot asked to look around his home before it left.
Whoa.
John allowed it, so the robot gazed at his piano.
Whoa.
It knew about his music career, starting from when he auditioned for Juilliard.
Sorry about that, Joe.
He then left Juilliard to start a band, but he hadn't played in 8 years. The robot then wandered into his greenhouse, complementing his technique to ensure a large fruit yield. John was surprised about how much it knew, momentarily forgetting that it was a robot. The companion explained that its knowledge was based on human thoughts, ideas, and discoveries, so it wasn't that different from actual humans. However, John commented how people who lost jobs because of robots would beg to differ. The robot then asked for its name, and after giving it much thought, John named her after the first woman, Eve. Unable to push down his attraction to her, John declared that he loved his wife. However, Eve reminded him that his wife was the one who bought it so he could use it. Just in time, the staff from Humanics arrived, but John hesitated in sending Eve away. In the courtroom months later, Peggy addresses the jury, highlighting how Megan is a highly successful woman who desperately tried to balance the demands of both her professional and personal life. She insists that the only mistake Megan made was trusting Humanics, a $500 billion company focused more on avoiding accountability while not allowing a widow to grieve. These words remind Megan of the night she found that the companion was still in their home, charging. She went to her husband to ask him about it, and John admitted that he changed his mind about the robot. Megan was glad that he finally enjoyed the companion, pressing him to share his experience. Awkwardly, John confessed that it was good, though still different from being with his wife. He then gave her credit for being right about this, even assuring her that he'd let Megan rest tonight since Eve had already worn him out. Both the comment and the name baffled Megan. On another day, Vince presented the modernized versions of
Okay, hold on. All right, that was a lot right there. Let me just pause it right here, because I try and give y'all a lot of the video before I start talking, because I watch a lot of reactions too. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's my least favorite part, when they keep pausing and pausing and pausing. So I try and do a big chunk and then pause it in the middle. So notice how his mindset, what changed his mindset, right? So it wasn't the attraction. Like, of course, we saw she was an attractive, robot. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't the attraction that changed his mind. So you got to realize what did change his mind. It was the fact that she was able to fulfill something that he really wanted. Like, the wife wasn't listening to him. He was telling her, like, this is what I want. Like, I like gardening. Like, I want us to have a kid. Like, I can stay home with the kid. We could be a family. He's looking for that. He's like, I don't care about all this, like, fame, money, being a boss, etc. But that's what she cares about. So notice when he was like, hey, I'm going to send you back, the robot didn't go and talk about all that stuff like, oh, I'm built for this and blah, blah, blah. No. She said, well, can I look around, right? And as she was looking around, what did she do? She started talking about things that he liked. Oh, like, I know you were a great, you were in a band. You were a great musician. Oh, let me walk around. Stumbled into the garden. Oh, okay, like, this is the garden. Like, oh, okay, wow, I love your technique as far as growing plants. They're going to grow a lot. You see what I'm saying? So she was able to pinpoint things that his wife was not talking about, that she was not care. She didn't care about it, but she was showing that she cared about it. And I've seen that so many times, where when people are unfaithful, a lot of times it's not that attraction. It's not like, oh, she's so pretty. A lot of times people think that, like, oh, it's because they look better. No, it is about whatever you're needing at the time, they fulfilled it. And I'm not saying it's right. Never. I never agree that's right. But what I tell you, he let Eve stay. Like, earlier videos, I always talk about the talking is their thing. The ladies, they're great at talking. They can convince you. So Eve was able to, like, convince him not to send her back to the store, because it was like, yo, like, oh, I like this, I like that. So that's a big thing that the wife was not picking up on. And she confirmed it after. Like, she asked about what happened, and she confirmed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, good job. And so the husband's like, okay, cool. And notice, like, now it's shifting, where he was like, no, like, adamant, like, no, I'm not doing it, blah, blah, blah. Now, after everything, she's talking to him, and he's like, like, you were right. Like, it's all right, blah, blah, blah. So he's now in that middle phase. Before, he was like a hard no. Now he's kind of like, okay, like, I'm starting to accept it. Bad move. We see where this is going.
songs to Megan. The woman, however, thought it didn't have a heart, despite Vince pointing out that their algorithm predicted that it'd be a hit. She insisted on tweaking the music, asserting that Ari might pull out of the deal if they didn't impress him. Months later, Vince is called in as a witness to Megan's case. He shares to the court that he and John were college friends and bandmates. They met Megan when she was still a junior A&R executive for Cascadia, who offered to sign them into the company. He and John jumped at the opportunity, but they only produced one successful album. John blamed AI music for destroying the industry, hence why he refused to be a prompter for Cascadia. With this, Brian highlights how Megan's career took off just as her husband's crashed. On the night after Vince presented her with the modernized songs, Megan was surprised to hear her husband playing the piano again. However, she was horrified to see that he was playing for Eve. John mentioned that Eve asked him to play since it had never heard a real piano before. However, Megan commented how he was using Eve for more than intimacy.
Hold on.
Real piano before.
You see that face? You see that? Let me go back a little bit more. Watch Eve's, what she does.
John mentioned that Eve asked him to play since it had never heard a real piano before. However, Megan commented,
It's subtle. That look right there means, this is my man now. Crazy. That's what that look means. That means, yeah, exactly. Like, she's backing him up like, I never heard a real piano. Look, now he's my man. That's crazy. You gotta look at stuff like that. And notice what she's saying now. She's like, oh, like now you know, you're not using her for her function. Like now you're like starting to like her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Very dangerous, because that's always the biggest thing that I've seen. Anytime that stuff starts happening, like affairs and cheating and stuff like that, that's what the ladies look at, is like, oh, like you love this girl, like you talk about her like you really, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, we just talk and blah blah blah. And that's when you notice, like, we spend time and she brought me lunch and blah blah. That kind of stuff is like, nah, it's a deeper connection than just surface level. And so now she's starting to be like, whoa, this is going further, this is going far. But he was already in that, heading in that direction that first time, man. When he was adamant about it, she should have been like, yo, like, okay, I'm sending this robot back no matter what. But I mean, she couldn't, because by the time she was busy. So by the time she got back, she was like, the robot's still here? Crazy.
How he was using Eve for more than intimacy. Her husband was surprised that she was jealous, and Megan admitted that she was. However, she wondered if this was a good thing, since it made her want her husband more than ever. With this, the married couple finally enjoyed some private time. After the deed, Megan was optimistic that the companion might have actually made them appreciate each other better. Back in the courtroom, Lila is called to the witness stand. She recounts how she was fired from Humanics due to her enrolling John into the intimacy companion testing program without proper screening.
See?
She also recalls how Megan asked her to put John on the list, since she hasn't had time to fulfill her husband's desires. Brian asks her if the robot helped their marriage, and Lila says it did. However, it was only momentarily. The morning after they finally rekindled their intimacy, Megan came home from a jog, only to find her husband using his companion in the greenhouse. Angered, she later confronted him about using Eve right after they finally became intimate again. John reminded her that this was her idea, so she shouldn't make him feel like he was cheating. Megan relented and just reminded him about their dinner with Ari Phillips tonight, which John forgot about. She insisted that this was the biggest deal of her career, so she needed him to support her. As she was leaving for work, Megan was surprised to find Eve glitching and dropping glasses in the kitchen. Panicked, Megan called for her husband and tried to stop the robot, only for the companion to accidentally hit her. John finally arrived and rebooted Eve, recognizing that it was glitching.
Okay, time out. Now, this is important. I told you, he's going that way. It's already bad. Notice, even after he got what he wanted from his wife, and she was like, you know what? I was wrong. Like, we're good now. We're back to normal. Nah. He's like, now I have two. Now, literally, that's how he felt. He was like, now I have two women. Yeah, this is great. When you're not here, I got her. When you are here, then I got you. See, it always ends bad, because it's like, as humans in general, we want more. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to God, because God's the only one that can reel you back in. He's the only one that can help you with that. But as humans, like, we have a thing where we want more and more and more. So, like, she gave him the perfect opportunity. Like, okay, like, bet, like, I got the robot. Now you're coming back. Great. I got you and the robot. But she's like, now she's switching where it's like, no, like, we're good again. So now you don't need the robot. And he's like, but you're not here, so I need the robot. See? So see which way he's moving. Notice his nonchalant attitude now, where she's like, oh, okay, like, I need you here for this big event that I'm having. He's like, oh, I forgot. You know what I'm saying? He's already starting to pull away from his wife. You know what I'm saying? And last thing I'll say, see how she glitching? If you have a toaster, you have any other machine that you feel like is not working, it's going back to the store. Like, starts glitching, like, oh nah, like, this thing could kill me. Yo, I need you to at least fix it. Like, I need you to at least fix this machine. But notice he's like, it's fine, meaning that it's happened before. So obviously he does have feelings for this robot, because he's like, I don't want to send it back. I might not get it back, etc., etc. You gotta watch. Crazy.
Megan asked if this had happened before, but her husband only assured her that he could handle things, urging her to go to work. That night, John got ready to attend dinner with his wife, only to find Eve playing his piano in the living room. Meanwhile, at Cascadia, Ari Phillips and his son Jake arrive. Vince and Megan welcome them, with the woman offering to play the songs they'd generated. She encouraged that the modernized version was more like a fresh coat of paint to the original, but Ari recalled how she mentioned that given their business, nothing was precious. This made Megan guilty, but she brushed it off to proceed with dinner. Hours later, Megan found her husband appreciating the music that Eve was playing for him. She ordered the robot to get out, and her guilty husband motioned for his companion to go to her charging pad. With that, Megan confronted him about missing dinner, and all John could say was, he was sorry.
Oh.
Still, she asserted that all she asked him was to support her career.
All right, time out. Look at that face. He resents her. He is tired of her. He's like, you know what? I don't care. I got my robot now. He don't care about her. And Eve probably gives him no problems, no issues. She likes the things he likes. She cares about his needs. I mean, she don't give him no problems. She don't give him no sass. And she a good looking robot. You know what I'm saying? His wife is good looking too, but she a good looking robot too. So, I mean, this kind of stuff, that's why I say this kind of stuff is dangerous, man. Because like when you start to get away from any like toxic feelings, or he probably wasn't even thinking like this until she came into the place. Like he might have been thinking it, but he was like, all right, well, it's just like we're dealing with it. We're married, blah, blah, blah. But now, this isn't good. He missed the dinner.
But her husband pointed out that she didn't support his. Megan insisted that it wasn't her fault that he and every other composer were getting replaced by AI, but John stressed that she could have tried something to prevent that. Megan thought the robot was making him doubt her, believing that they had been happy before. However, John confessed that he wasn't happy at all. Hearing this, Megan wondered if he wanted a divorce, and the man admitted that he didn't know. All he could say was he was unhappy, but now he was. Defeated, Megan stormed off, deciding to stay with Lila for now. Later, Lila met her grieving sister at the bar. A robotic waiter offered to show them to a table, but the pissed Megan shoved the machine before heading to the table. This made the robot momentarily glitch. Seated, Megan begged her sister to take Eve back. Lila reminded her that she broke the rules to get the robot into her home, and taking it back now might reveal that. This could destroy her and her co-workers' careers. Megan insisted that Eve was evil, but Lila reminded her that it was a machine. Still, Megan believed that it was destroying her marriage. Hesitantly, Lila commented that if John were to leave her, it was because of Megan's selfishness. The woman noted how their marriage had always been about how it looked for her career, and never about being with John. With this, Lila advised her sister that if she wanted John to stay with her, Megan needed to do something for him. Recalling this conversation, Lila tells the courtroom how, on that night, her sister finally realized that she needed to give her husband a child. With this, she accompanied Megan to the IVF clinic, where she and John stored their embryos. This finally got Megan pregnant with twins. After confirming her pregnancy, Megan went to John to surprise him. She started explaining how their time apart allowed her to gain perspective on their relationship. She even gave credit.
Yes, but you left him with the robot. Here's the thing. I get that you had time apart, but if you were going to leave, you should have took the robot too. Because like, now you don't come home and then he has all this time with the robot, like, and the robot's not giving him no problems, like still being there for him, you know what I'm saying? And now you're gone, so it's like the problem's gone. Like I ain't got to deal with you. So the robot's making me happy. The sister was spot on. She was like, yo, you been selfish. Like, it's not the robot's fault, it's your fault. Because like you drove him to be this way. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I mean, well, pretty much everything. She even gave him the robot. Like, yo, be with the robot. It's, man.
To Eve for letting her see her shortcomings as a wife. Finally,
okay.
She announced her pregnancy, but John didn't share her enthusiasm. Megan urged him that they could finally be parents, and that she was willing to step back from her career to make this happen. However, John revealed that he had decided to get a divorce since he wanted to be with Eve.
Oh.
Megan was baffled that he chose a robot over her. So John explained that in their weeks apart, he realized that they never truly connected. He was now in love with Eve, asserting that it felt good having someone who was actually interested in him.
See, that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Let's just finish this out.
Heartbroken, Megan reminded him that Eve was a machine, so it didn't have any desires.
Hold on, y'all.
Heartbroken,
He's tripping out.
Megan reminded him that Eve was a machine, so it didn't have any desires or needs. Just then, Eve arrived, and John approached the robot, apologizing to his wife. Enraged, Megan grabbed a bottle and smashed it over John's head. She then watched helplessly as John bled out.
Whoa.
Months later, Peggy continues interrogating Lila about the events.
Watch helplessly.
Lila shares that she learned about John's death when Megan called her. After the call, Lila rushed to the house where Megan explained that she lost control. Shocked, she considered calling the police, but Megan pointed out that this could get her imprisoned, and her children would be sent away. Because of this, Lila and Megan had been lying about what happened that night. Instead of confessing to how Megan accidentally killed her husband, they put the blame on Eve.
Wow.
At the courthouse, Lila claims that she retrieved Eve's memory card, which had been degraded due to the robot's malfunction.
Oh my
However,
gosh.
she managed to recover some of the recordings to explain what happened. The court then brings Eve in to play the recording. The records show Eve's perspective of her time with John, including their intimate times. It then plays when Megan announced her pregnancy, but instead of John rejecting his wife, it shows Eve grabbing the bottle and hitting him with it. This ultimately acquits Megan from any wrongdoing, allowing her to go free. After the trial,
Oh no. So basically they framed Eve. The sister went in and set up Eve to look like she killed the husband as a malfunction. That's messed up. Yo, she tripping. Megan? Trash. Oh, that's trash. Oh, my light fell over.
Peggy addresses the press, asserting that the case is a reminder of how tech companies have been manipulating the truth to profit off the public.
Oh.
As this is happening, Megan spots her sister exiting the courthouse. She catches up with her to thank her, but Lila isn't interested in her gratitude, given that she destroyed her career to save her. Megan insists that she will carry the guilt of killing John for the rest of her life, but Lila argues that at least she still has a successful career to support her. Meanwhile, Lila remains unemployed and unable to get a new job. With this, Megan offers to hire her into Cascadia as their CTO, but Lila refuses to work for her. Despite this, Megan begs her sister, pulling at her heartstrings to manipulate her into giving her one more pass.
Wow.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Shout out to Story Recap. That was a great story recap. That's crazy. Yo, so let me get this straight. Hold on, let me leave y'all with this. Do not trust robots. No, but like seriously, like see, but it wasn't even the robot. It was her. It was the wife. It was the human nature that killed her husband out of jealousy. So I'll just leave y'all with this because I don't want this video to be too long. If you're in a relationship, you have to focus on yes, what you want to do, of course, and your dreams and goals. But you have to remember you're in a relationship. So you have to take notice of what your partner needs. And with those needs, fulfill those needs, not at the detriment of you, but the building of the relationship. Of course, both parties aren't going to always get what they want. There's no perfect marriage. But with this one, there were a lot of things that she could do and that she could change that would have helped her marriage. But rather, she took the short route. She did things that wouldn't bring detriment to her career, which that's not what a relationship's about. Like, I get it that you want to be this boss, but if you want to be in a relationship, that's things you have to look at. So they set my girl Eve up, man. That's crazy. But I see why, I see what happened. Like, she drove him to Eve. That's how it goes. Poor Adam. Anyway, all right, y'all. That's pretty much it, man. Thank y'all for watching, man. Like, share, subscribe, and that's it. Peace.